Sneakers in 2024, and this could also relate to fashion in general. One thing that irks my nerves really badly more and more, this is supposed to be fun, number one, but two, also subjective in that what I prefer, what I like, what connects with me, that's for me. That's my opinion. That's my subjective perspective on a shoe, a brand, a designer, any number of things within sneakers or fashion itself. The same goes for you as well. Whatever connects, resonates, speaks to you through the design, the material, the colorway, the message, the story, how it hangs, how it drapes. That's relative to you and for you and your preferences and your likes. And guess what? It is perfectly okay if those, they don't mesh, they don't go together. That is okay. Very often, our two perspectives won't connect. They won't be in alignment together, and that's okay. That's how it should be. But that's not what we really see online. People are very quick to have their thought on a shoe. For example, the colorway, the design, is it great? Is it trash? Is it this? Is it that? And they want you to respect that opinion that they have on that item, but they do not want to acknowledge that yours can be a complete 180 from how they see a shoe. They just can't. Like, it physically feels impossible, I think, for them to accept that, wow, someone else's opinion on that shoe, like, that's how they see it. It doesn't have to be a fact for me, but that's how they see it. I guess it just doesn't, maybe it's not all clicking there. And I don't know, a lot of Bush's children are running around out here, okay, that didn't really pass English well, like the comprehension that should have been gained. Pivotal years in high school, I don't think they took too well. I just don't. And it's based on so many things I see online, right? Especially, I've shared with you guys like just some of the recent things that I've encountered in comments in relation to the Air Jordan 4 Bread Reimagined. The drop happened, it passed. I do think it's funny that everyone wanted to say, oh, these are going to be easy and people aren't going to have a problem trying to get them. And it's like, yeah, you say that, but I've seen people get up on here and say, hey, I entered like 15 raffles between me and my wife and we still took L's. And then you have other people that are in that same comment section saying, I tripled up, I quadrupled up, I have all of these pairs. And there was never going to be enough to meet the demand. All right, supply just wasn't going to be that. At least I didn't think that it was. And I guess that was right. And it's unfortunate. I get that people wanted the shoe and they took an L, and that's unfortunate. I still stand behind you. Stand behind you will be okay if you don't get the shoe. But, you know, there was a lot of conversation going around. I think a lot of closed-minded behavior is shown within sneakers. Just in that I can feel one way about a shoe, you can feel differently, and it doesn't mean that either one of us are wrong because I'm not paying for your shoes and you're not paying for mine. And I also saw this take place on one specific video on Instagram. So I just wanted to share that here because a lot of assumptions also get thrown around about sneakers, and I understand there is like this negative connotation sometimes between how people feel like on the outside looking in, like they take a look around, right, and we have all of these shoes, and to them they can automatically think that buying more than the pair that you may need, right, for the utility that you need the sneaker, that it's excessive, that it's also a waste of money, that it's just ridiculous and it's immature, and they have a lot of negative, I guess, descriptives that they would use for those of us who, you know, we consider ourselves into sneaker culture. We've collected sneakers in some way our entire lives, and they don't look at it in a positive light. And that's fine, like they don't have to, but I think it's also pretty judgmental in that, again, we don't know what it is in terms of if somebody are they making bad decisions with their money? Are they prioritizing sneakers over their finances? I don't assume that people are. What I simply do is advocate that you should prioritize investing in yourself for the future, which really is investing, like compound interest work in your best interest, and then save. Like, there are some things that are hard to argue with, okay? If you're not planning for retirement, you're going to work until you die. If you don't have anything saved, I don't care if you make $60,000 a year or $600,000 a year, if you lose your job tomorrow and you have absolutely no savings until you secure another job, if that's your main source of income, you will be hurting, okay? You will be in dire straits. You will be in a very difficult position. That really isn't something that we need to argue, okay? The math will math there correctly, okay? Your bills will still be due even if you lose that main source of income. That's just a fact. But for sneakers, the people that are automatically thinking this is super wasteful, this is terrible, I don't believe in that either, right? I have friends that have far more sneakers than I do, okay? They're not in this frame of mind to downsize and to get rid of a lot of what they believe is clutter. They're not. And I respect them for how they choose to approach collecting. I am no longer approaching collecting that way. And I have friends that I am on the same path as them, and people that I align with there, and others that I don't. But I'm not judging them because they choose to have tons and tons and tons of pairs, right? It's just not for me anymore past a certain point. So Mars Kicks, it's simply a profile on Instagram, and he said nude house equals new sneaker room, new space, more room, better lighting. I can't wait to see what I'll turn out here. You know, hope y'all had a great week, right? And he's just simply sharing on his page. New house, beautiful for him and his family, okay? New house. He made sure that part of the new house, there would be a room dedicated to just his sneakers. That's fine. People have rooms dedicated to different things. It shouldn't bother you if someone chooses to do that. Would I want to do that? I thought at one point I really wanted that, right? If I upgrade and have more space just in terms of square footage, have a room dedicated to just like shoes, wall to all of this, wall to wall, all of this, right? I thought I wanted that at one point. I don't know that I do. I don't know if I want to enable myself to do that, but I'm not upset at anyone that chooses to. So he did this whole transition. You guys can see it on camera. And I don't even think he has like some insane amount of shoes. Like I don't think it's like some astronomical amount, but I'm sure it can be excessive to anyone not into shoes, okay? It's quite a bit. It's a lot. I didn't count them, but it's certainly a lot. But to anyone not into this, it probably does seem extremely off the wall, okay? And when you look at some of the comments, this is where I think the judgment comes in that can be rather unfair. And that's all I'm saying. So one person said, I guess his shoe collection worth more than any other thing that he have. First off, the grammar is terrible on these comments. I'm just going to throw that out there right now. But, you know, I guess his shoe collection is worth more than anything that he has. Well, you don't know that. Like, we haven't pulled the books back to see what his assets are versus his liabilities. Like, we don't know this man's net worth just based on this video. That's a pretty poor assumption to make. I'm not a fan of that, and that's just me personally, okay? Because assuming that, we don't know. We just don't know. And these are the assumptions that people will make about those in sneakers, and it's like, you don't know. Are there people that certainly have their sneakers, you know, I've said this before, like, is the portfolio value of your sneakers, is it worth more than what you actually have in investments? That in itself can be kind of a red flag, that maybe just focus more on compound interest than just sneakers, but we don't know. Somebody else said, you know, the amount of hate in here says, I don't make enough money to fund my passion or hobby, so let me shit on yours. There was a lot of hate in his comment section, and people don't even know him. What I will say is, I don't know that it's rooted in just jealousy of people not making enough to be able to acquire all of the shoes that he had, because I don't try to just jump to what everybody, people have said this about me, right? If I choose not to buy a shoe, oh, it must mean you're broke and you can't afford it. I don't jump to people are judging because they don't have. People will judge and have hundreds of thousands of dollars sitting in their account. If they don't find the same value in something that you do, like sneakers, then they're not going to see it the same way you do, right? A millionaire could sit there and not value sneakers the way you do, so therefore they don't see the point in you having a room like that. But that won't be all millionaires. There are millionaires that are very much so into sneakers and handbags and any number of things, and they have rooms dedicated to that. So it's going to be based on the perspective and the filter through which you view things. This was another one. This is not a waste of money or time. Y'all sound stupid. People collect different things. Now, I have to agree, not necessarily with the people that sound stupid, but I do think they're being a little bit hypocritical that they may have something that they're really passionate about, but because they can't really connect with what this man is passionate about in sneakers, that, you know, it has to be a waste of his money. One woman said, they just jealous, I collect purses, so I get it. Again, I don't think it all has to be rooted in jealousy. Judgment can come from a number of different places emotionally. Do I think it's fair? No, I don't. But this is where we are. And again, a lot of judgment under there. The same way there was judgment on the recent video I did. Nike laid off 2% of its workforce, and I said, you know, it's always important for you to take care of your bottom line, because Nike will take care of theirs. If they need to cut a line item, let's say it's human capital and layoffs, then they will do that, but making sure that your bottom line is in order, meaning that you're not in the red and you have savings to be able to carry you from one transition of a job to another. I think that's a smart thing, you know, versus just prioritizing sneakers. And somebody commented, the smartest thing to do is not waste money on sneakers at all. And I honestly said exactly what I feel. If you feel sneakers is a waste of money for you, then I would say don't buy them for you. I'm not going to say it's a waste of money. I think there's a boundary, there's a threshold in which it may no longer serve you and you may want no more than what you have already acquired. Great, fine. A lot of you have reached that point. That's kind of where I am, where I would very much so like more to go out than what comes in. That's where I am. And I'll go ahead and share kind of where I am with that, and sneakers put to the side, sneakers that I've already sold, sneakers that will probably just be given away. I will share an update on that very soon. But sneakers has really become this place in which people are not showing the same respect in terms of subjective views to someone else that they certainly want returned to them. They want the fact they think a sneaker is great or trash respected, but they don't want to respect the other side of that. No one's telling you that we have to have the same views. If you want to buy the sneaker, buy it. If you don't want to, then don't. It's that simple. It really is just that simple, okay? So again, if you haven't checked out my recent video, please be sure to do so. I just always want you to be your own biggest advocate for financial security. You can't rely on anybody else to do that. And then also, if you picked up the Bread 4 Reimagined and you're curious, hey, how to style that, I did a whole video for my 2019 pair, so please be sure to check that out and any other recent videos. As always, act your age, not your shoe size. Peace.